Okay.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here this evening on Russell's Redox Room. We welcome you one and all on this holiday night. Thank you for attending. And my name is Megan Moore, and I'll be hosting tonight. And I am co-founder of the Center for Functional Nutrition. And I would like to introduce to you Russell Mariani. And Russell is a health educator, author, speaker, digestive wellness and redox expert. And for as long as I've known Russell, which is a long, long time, as he is my husband and business partner, he has had a very deep and passion for cellular health. And so when we were introduced to redox technology in 2011, he was very curious indeed, and that curiosity has become a preoccupation. He will tell you a little bit more about that himself, but Russell, I'll hand the call to you, and after Russell speaks, we will open up the room for questions. And please put your questions into the chat box, and then I will relay your questions to Russell. And we will end this Zoom at 8:55. Thanks so much. Russell?
Thanks, Megan. Let me, I forgot to mute everybody, so the sound was not great there. Let me mute everybody, but then Megan, you unmute yourself so that you can ask the questions. Okay, I think the sound quality is much better there. So, yes, welcome everybody on July the 5th, this wonderful holiday weekend. Hard to say wonderful, so many things going on, so many challenging things going on in our country, in our nation, and around the world. I think the predominant mindset of everybody is concern, and there's lots of reasons to be concerned. So, but fortunately, we have these amazing little redox molecules. Hope in a bottle. A friend of ours in Detroit calls it liquid courage. We have an amazing opportunity to impact our health at the most basic, most fundamental level of our physiology. In fact, I was reading in preparation for tonight's call, I was reading one of my favorite books. It's called The Science of Healing Revealed by Dr. Gary Samuelson. And it was Dr. Gary Samuelson who inherited all the research. Bertus Norton, the founder of ASEA, and his son Tyler Norton gave Gary Samuelson boxes of research papers with the mission to figure out what this amazing liquid was. They knew it was doing amazing things in all kinds of laboratory studies, and it was Dr. Gary Samuelson that figured out that what they had produced was stabilized, balanced redox signaling molecules. These molecules are manufactured inside every cell of our body, in the mitochondria of every cell of our body. The mitochondria are responsible for producing our cellular energy. What used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome, or it used to be thought of was caused by a virus, is now called mitochondrial disease. And we recognize that the problem is that the mitochondria are not producing enough of this fuel called ATP. And now we know that the reason it's not producing enough of that ATP is deficiencies of redox signaling molecules. So, but literally, if you could picture the myriad of things that can go wrong with the human body, think of all the names of illnesses and conditions and diseases that we've all heard about throughout our lifetime. Every single one of them has its origin in a cell or a small group of cells that have started to dysfunction. They're cruising along for 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, 50 years, replicating themselves every 90 to 120 days, behaving normally, functioning normally, taking in nutrients, metabolizing nutrients, producing enzymes and hormones and all kinds of other things, and getting rid of toxins. Just being a normal, healthy cell in your brain, your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, bone cells, muscle cells, nerve cells. And then all of a sudden, due to deficiencies of water, deficiencies of oxygen, deficiencies of micronutrients, imbalances, too much coffee, too much alcohol, too much pollution in the air, suddenly the cells are overwhelmed with either too much of what they don't need or not enough of what they do need, and they start to dysfunction. But even in the midst of all that dysfunction, the redox signaling molecules are working 24 hours a day to alert the cell to what's going on, to the problems that are arising, and fixing those problems, constantly repairing those problems, constantly keeping this cell in balance. No matter what the challenge is, the redox molecules help this cell to restore balance and restore normal functioning. And this is literally called the redox potential of the cell. It's also called redox homeostasis. And so this is literally the most important thing that's happening inside of our body, inside every cell of our body. And we have an enormous responsibility. We have an enormous say. We have an enormous influence on how all that plays out. And so, of course, we have the tremendous benefit and advantage of being able to supplement our body with the same redox signaling molecules that our healthy cells produce. Where's my tube of Renew 28? Somebody hold up a tube of Renew 28. I thought I had it right here. So we can drink the molecules, and we can, thank you, Peg Holcomb, and we can apply them topically, okay? But by doing that, we have the ability to restore to normal the redox potential of our cells. The last thing I'll say before we open it up for questions, we have enormous influence over everything that happens in our body, and we can help our body every minute of every day by drinking enough redox, using enough Renew 28, but also hydration. Every cell of our body needs to be hydrated. And when the cells are hydrated and we drink redox signaling molecules or use them topically, they will work much better than if our body was dehydrated. So that's huge. The redox molecules will work a lot better in a cell that has a full spectrum of micronutrients available to it. So what we eat is critically important, and what we take for supplements, critically important. If the balance between protein, carbohydrate, and fat is good, in balance, normal, that has a tremendous impact on our body's ability to utilize the redox molecules and keep ourselves healthy, prevent ourselves from getting sick, and if we do get sick, be able to repair ourselves and cells very quickly. Okay, so let me stop there. So let me say one last thing. So in their order of importance, what the things that every cell of our body needs: oxygen, water, redox signaling molecules, micronutrients. All these things are absolutely critical, but those four things are the absolute most essential things. And if we pay attention to those things every day, We can live younger longer. We can prevent a lot of problems from happening. And of course, we can intervene with any problem that's happening and get ourselves back to a good state of health once again. Okay, so let's see what questions we have. Any question at all about redox signaling molecules or the connection between redox and our healthy body or not so healthy body? So just put the question in the chat room, in the chat box, and then Megan will ask the question. Meg, you're muted. Oh, just there you go.
The only question that is in the chat box at the moment is, will there be a replay? We will, of this recording, we will post this recording onto our YouTube station. So you'll be able to see it there at any time. One question, Russell, wondering about the expiration date on ASEA.
Yeah, so typically the shelf life of a bottle of ASEA is 18 months from the date of manufacture. Most people will get their ASEA when they order it. It's less than a month old, maybe within 60 days of manufacture. And so once you open it, it'll be good for 18 months. I used to ask this question of Dr. Ward all the time and Dr. Samuelson. And they said, even after 18 months, it doesn't degrade totally. It's not like one day, poof, and none of the molecules are working anymore. He said maybe it would only be 90% effective. And then maybe after a few more months, 80% effective. So obviously the company says it's best to consume a bottle of ASEA within 30 days once you open it. But clearly, if you can, if it takes you 2 months to consume it, no problem. It's going to still be 100% bioactive and viable. The same with Renew 28. Once you open a tube of Renew 28, you want to use it within a week or two. But if you still have a tube a month later or even 2 months later and they're still renewing it, it's going to be perfectly fine.
Thank you, Russell. Another question, is more ASEA better?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the simple answer is yes, depending on circumstances. In very, very rare circumstances in the last 10 years of my redox journey, even 2 ounces a day for some people seemed to be too much, meaning that their body was fully utilizing the 4 ounces a day, but there was a lot going on in that particular body and that person felt a little uncomfortable and maybe their body was repairing fast, maybe their body was detoxifying fast. But that's rare. I can only think of a few people who needed to start off with less than 4 ounces a day. But typically what we're looking at is a deficiency. Most bodies, once they get beyond 25 years old, and more children, unfortunately, from 5 to 25 years old are deficient in redox and deficient in water and deficient in micronutrients. So their bodies are just not producing an adequate amount of redox molecules for everything to be humming along, functioning perfectly normal. So most people will benefit tremendously by taking more, not less, of the redox molecules. And if, I think I sent something out a week ago, on June 10th, I drank an entire bottle of ASEA, and I think that's the first time I've done that in 10 years. And as I got about halfway through the bottle, I could just feel my whole body singing. I could feel my whole body just functioning so well. And by the time I finished the entire bottle, by the evening time, I felt very calm. I felt very relaxed. I felt very clear. I felt very I felt energized, but not in a hyper energetic way, not in a caffeinated way. Just everything humming along. I slept really well, and I woke up, completely wide awake after a very good night's sleep. So most situations in most people's lives, in most people's circumstances, they're going to do better to take a little more redox. And I encourage everybody to do that. And you should do it with some type of, method. If you're right now drinking 4 ounces a day, then go to 6 ounces a day. If you have a serious concern, then there's no problem to double it and go from 4 ounces a day to 8 ounces a day. If you've ever consumed 12 ounces a day, experiment. Please do that. Give yourself the opportunity to see what that's like. And if you've never consumed 16 ounces a day, save up your money or save up your loyalty rewards points and set aside a week or set aside a month where you're going to drink 16 ounces a day. And if you've never had a dramatic or significant redox experience, you might do that. It's a really, really good thing to do. So almost always, the body is going to benefit from more redox molecules, not less. And there's you could safely drink a whole bottle of ASEA every single day. It's not going to cause any problems. Again, if there's a lot of work to be done, detox work and repair work, you could sense that. You could, if you ever increase the amount of ASEA and you feel a little uncomfortable, generally, not always, generally, it's your body saying, okay, slow down a little bit in the increase, in the way that you're increasing. And then usually that'll be just fine. But I think across the board, all of us would do well to set aside time to experiment and increase the amount of ASEA that we're drinking and increase the amount of Renew that we're using.
Yes, definitely. ASEA, it would be, or with redox would be a wonderful thing to do. This is an interesting question, Russell. The point is, it doesn't go bad, it expired, correct?
Yeah, very good. That's a very good question. The product does not go bad. It just gets less and less potent. So it would move from 100% potency to 90%, to 90 to 89, just slowly degrade, but it doesn't go bad in terms of becoming, it would make you sick. It would, it's a saline solution. So again, you should consume it once you've opened it, within 30 to 60 days for sure, but there's never a danger of it becoming bad. Now, if you have a bottle that's over 6 months old that was open, you should probably just get rid of it for safety reasons. But, within a month or 2 or 3, and you've kept it capped, that's never going to be a problem. So yeah, it doesn't go bad. Now, if you were drinking out of a bottle and got saliva in there, that would deactivate molecules. If you mix it with anything, that would deactivate the redox.
All right, thank you. Russell, this is a distinction, Russell, between the plastic cup and drinking out of a glass, a clean glass. We have a question. In each case of ASEA, we receive a plastic glass, and in the how-to guide, actually on page 5, is saying that we should measure with the plastic cup and then pour into a clean glass. What is your comment on that?
Yes, to be careful about keeping the redox liquid or the gel potent, 100% potent. You don't want to mix it with anything. And so if you drink from the cup, then you're going to get some saliva on the edge of the cup. If you wear lip balm or lipstick, you're going to get some germs, some bacteria from your mouth, from your lips. from the moisture of your lips onto the rim of that plastic cup. Now, is that enough to completely degrade the redox? Within a week or two? Probably not. Okay, so it's not like a major concern in terms of deactivating the molecules, but you could cause some deactivation, 5%, possibly even 10%. So to optimize the value of the redox liquid, best to pour it from the bottle into that little measuring cup, and from there into a glass that you drink out of. So that's true. I agree with that.
Yeah, that way you're guaranteeing the cleanliness of the glass.
You're keeping the potency of the redox liquid that is inside the bottle 100%, or close to 100%, by pouring it out of the bottle into that little measuring cup, and from that measuring cup into another cup that you then drink from.
How about washing the old plastic cup every time?
If you want to do that, of course, you could do that and drink it out of the plastic cup, but then you want to make sure you clean it really well each time.
Yeah.
I've only been using this for about 10 days, but it's given me terrible diarrhea. Any comments?
So my comment would be, thanks for the coming into the Zoom, Marianne, but it's good. It would be best if you could put your question into the chat. We're just doing that as a protocol, make sure everything stays compliant, but I understand your question. That's an unusual response, and that would be something that you want to make sure that when you first get started with the redox that you're hydrated. So contact your sponsor if you don't have information about how to help your body with the redox molecules by being better hydrated. But even if you did everything perfectly and you were absolutely perfectly hydrated and you introduced your body to the redox molecules, it can happen. All kinds of things can happen as your body detoxifies, repairs. Diarrhea is not a common experience or response to somebody who's just starting out taking their redox supplements, but it can happen. I don't know what percentage it would be. I would think it would be 10% or less of the total number of people who are introduced to this, and that same 10% would be, all kinds of interesting responses. But whatever the response is, it's your body using the redox molecules to balance cells or to repair cells or to optimize metabolism inside the cell or to help your body to detoxify. So, but typically, if that happens and you're having that response more than a day or two, you should probably slow down, decrease the amount, contact your sponsor, find out if there's maybe a practitioner in their upline who could ask you more specific questions to your situation, and there might be, one or two things that could help you, to be pointed out as you're starting to help your body, restore balance with the redox.
Thank you, Russell. Let's see. Chronic fatigue, is this now viewed to be a redox deficiency?
Yeah, yes. The short answer is yes. The short answer is everything. You name the condition. I mean, this is what Dr. Rob's book, Dr. Rob Ward, wrote a book about healthy cells, healthy life, balance and redox. And there's at least 50, 60 conditions named in here. And every single one of them, the fundamental cause is an imbalance of oxidants and reductants, an imbalance of the redox signaling molecules. So yes, so if you talk to functional medical doctors integrative medical doctors, they talk about chronic fatigue with the term mitochondrial disease. They'll use that term, mitochondrial disease. And what they mean is the mitochondria are not producing enough energy, which is a substance called ATP, and the mitochondria aren't able to produce enough ATP because there's an imbalance and deficiency of redox signaling molecules. So this is the big insight of redox science, redox biochemistry, redox biology, that everything, every negative health condition is partly caused by an imbalance and deficiency of redox signaling molecules. There are two types of redox molecules, reductants, and the other type is oxidants. And if you could see at the level of molecules where electrons are flying around atoms, the whole nature of redox is happening at the level of electron transfer. So the cells are aware of what's going on, and literally on a second-by-second basis, microseconds, the cells are able to see whether molecules need redox molecules to be donated or whether they need to be taken away. Sorry, whether electrons need to be donated to make balance or need to be removed or taken away to create that balance. But that's literally what redox molecules are doing. 24 hours a day, every second of every day, they're giving electrons, creating balance, or they're taking away electrons, creating balance. It's very simple to explain at that level, but the complexity is quite astonishing. I was reading in Gary Samuelson's book last night that some of the redox reactions are happening in millionths of a second. I can't even put my head around a millionth of a second. So it's really quite astonishing what is going on in our cells, in the So a cell is one thing, but a molecule is much tinier. I often use the analogy of a big football stadium, okay? Like Giant Stadium outside of New York City, or Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, or the Los Angeles Coliseum in LA. These are massively big buildings. And so if you and I, two people, were standing at the entrance of one of those massive football stadiums, you and I would be redox signaling molecules, and the stadium would be a cell, if that helps you. In Gary's book, he talks about a cell being like a little city and the amazing amount of activity that happens in a city, and yet that's just one cell of our body, and the redox molecules are like people inside the city. So it's really quite astonishing. Okay, another question.
Russell, just about drinking the ASEA, another question. Would using a paper disposable cup eliminate denaturing?
Sure, as long as you pour this into the cup like a Dixie cup and then crush the Dixie cup after each serving, yes, then there's absolutely no possibility of degradation of the redox liquid. Okay, but again, this is, unless you're being really, if you're drinking out of the bottle, then the chance of degradation, degrading, destabilizing of the molecules increases. But even if you drank from the bottle for an entire week, because it takes, if you were drinking 4 ounces a day, you would go through one bottle a week. Probably at the end of that week, even if you were drinking out of the bottle, the molecules would still be bioactive. Would they be 100%? Probably not. But I don't know whether it would be as low as 75%. It could be. and it could be less. So obviously, you want to get as much value of the redox molecules as possible. You want to have 100% of these amazing molecules working in your body. So pour it out of the bottle into that measuring cup and then into another cup or glass to drink from.
Thank you, Russell.
After you drink from your drinking cup, you really have to clean that rim off before you pour more redox liquid into it.
Russell, can you repeat the name of Dr. Rob's book, please?
Yes. Healthy Cells, Healthy Life. Healthy Cells, Healthy Life. And the subtitle is Balancing Redox for Better Health, Dr. Robertson Ward. And I'm pretty sure that this book is available through the back office in ASEA, in our virtual office, in our ASEA website.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, and the Redox Doc website was still active the last time I checked, so that people could purchase tools.
It is still active.
Yeah, good.
Our YouTube channel is the Center for Functional Nutrition. You'll find all of our YouTubes at the Center for Functional Nutrition. Russell, seem to have any more questions tonight? It's 8:42. Does anybody have one last comment or question? And then Russell, I'll ask you to tie it up. And I think that will be it for tonight. July 5th, 2021.
It's fine. So some of you already know this, but a couple of years ago, I wrote something that I called our Declaration of Interdependence. And we're just celebrating our Declaration of Independence. And it was very important for the 13 colonies to create their own independent country and break away from the British Empire. It was a very unhealthy relationship, and it was a very unfair advantage. We were being taken advantage of unfairly, unjustly. So it was very important that we declared our independence. But the idea of independence is an interesting one to think about, because life, biology, is interdependent. There really is no independent anything. All life connects with all other forms of life. The root system of trees, there's all this amazing information being produced in the last few years about the root systems of plants and the root system of trees, and plants literally being the antidote to climate change. Green plants take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. And it's one of the things that we can do and are doing and need to do a lot more of in order to bring down the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere back to pre-industrial levels. But literally every cell of your body, there's no such thing as an independent cell in your body. Every cell is literally touching another cell, connected to those other cells, whether it's in your brain or your lungs or your heart. And every single one of the neighbors in every organ of your body are constantly communicating with each other. Oh, and guess what? They're communicating via redox signaling molecules. So as Megan said in the introduction, I've been carrying these thoughts and ideas with me every day for many, many years, studying human physiology and studying biology and studying cells, the miracle of cells. And so this idea of interdependence is kind of with me all the time. In fact, one of my favorite books, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is really a book about human performance and effectiveness, the opening sentence of that book says, and I quote from memory, "Interdependence is a higher value than independence. And that was written back in 1979. So I believe that. I believe that when we look inside of our body, we have all the proof necessary. We have all the answers to all the questions we have about how to live a healthy life, how to communicate effectively with our partners, how to communicate effectively with our children, with our families, with our friends. So many of the answers that we're looking for are right there in our own biology. I heard somebody say not too long ago that biology is to the 21st century what physics was to the 20th century. So I really believe with all my heart that the answers to all the questions that we have to help solve all the problems that we face will be found in biology, the more we learn about biology. So I wrote this little piece a couple years ago. It's called Our Declaration of Interdependence. And I will read it to you now, and then we will wrap up our Zoom for our July 4th holiday weekend. Our Declaration of Interdependence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that each one of us is born to be amazing, that we are here on this earth at this time to live extraordinary lives and to make significant contributions to the lives of others. We are here to help each other to be and become all that we are capable of being and becoming. We are here to make our dreams come true. We are here to help other people make their dreams come true. We are here to help make the world a better place. We are here to make a difference. We are here to heal ourselves and to heal our world. We are here to help each other to excel and to succeed in all the areas in life that are important to us: our health, our families, our work, our relationships, our communities, our stewardship of the environment, and our financial health and well-being, and the financial health and well-being of others. We cannot do this work alone. We can accomplish all of this and much more by working together. And because we know this to be true, because we hold these truths to be self-evident, we dedicate our lives to the ethos of working together, to creating and sustaining cooperative, sharing relationships and partnerships. We dedicate our lives to the spirit of teamwork, because teamwork makes the dream work. We dedicate our lives to the dream of creating and sustaining a world that works better for everyone. We are one ASEA team with one ASEA dream. This is our Declaration of Interdependence. So thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful ASEA week, and have a wonderful month. We'll see you next month. First Monday.
Thanks so much, everyone. Russell, can you unmute us all?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Everybody, just go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russell.
Just unmute yourself. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russell. Good night.
Russell.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, everybody.
Nighty night.
Bye, Pat.
Thank you.